Life's harshest blows rarely come from strangers. Sometimes catastrophe is merely the prelude. The deepest wound is delivered by the hand you trusted to hold yours. Ivan learned this truth beneath the sterile lights of an Arizona hospital, where shattered bone led to a shattered heart. His revenge wouldn't be carved in anger, but forged in the relentless fire of his own transformation. This is the story of how abandonment became an anvil, and a broken man became unbreakable. Let us know where you are watching from, and what time you found this video. As the sun began to set over the Sonoran Desert in Arizona, Ivan's pickup truck collided head-on with a drunk motorist. The Sonoran Desert was stained with blood. Not only did he feel the contact of metal against metal, but he also got the sensation that the whole world had smashed into him. When Chloe, his wife of 8 years, hurried into the intensive care unit, her Chanel No. 5 scent clashing forcefully with the antiseptic, she saw Ivan poised between life and death. He was a tangle of tubes, beeping monitors, and the ghostly pallor of shock. As she clutched his unresponsive hand for a period of 48 hours, she whispered vows against the devoid atmosphere. The words of the surgeon crashed like guillotines on Ivan's brain as he emerged from the darkness, blinking against the bright glare. We were unable to save the leg. Lower than the kneel. Not only did Ivan's environment disintegrate, but it also atomized. However, Chloe's response was even more icy than the surgical steel that was used to amputate his leg. 3 days later, as Ivan struggled with phantom anguish and existential dread, she stood by his bedside, her luxury bag gripped like armor. She was there to comfort him. With a voice that was devoid of the warmth that he had built his life on, she murmured, "Ivan, I am unable to accept this. I didn't sign up for half a man." This was followed by the filing of divorce papers within a week, with the reason being irreconcilable differences. Ivan's sorrow was like a hole in the sky. He sobbed till his ribs hurt, and the aroma of her perfume that was left on the pillows that he had left behind tormented him. A terrible joke was played on me by the prosthetic limb that the hospital had delivered, which was a cumbersome and functional device. In the middle of the night, when he was looking at the empty shell that was his existence, a spark flared in his chest. Taking revenge, he pondered. However, not with a rage or with fists. It would be a masterpiece, quiet, irrefutable, and completely transformational. That is what his revenge would be. Ivan used the money from the sale of their property in Phoenix to relocate to a warehouse that had been remodeled close to Tempe. Solder, carbon fiber, and resolve were the aromas that emanated from his new environment. He consumed a large number of books on biomechanical engineering, researched algorithms for gate analysis, and worked as an apprentice for an aerospace composites specialist who had retired. It wasn't enough for him to get up again. He needed to be able to fly. He was a pioneer in the field of adaptive aesthetics, which included the construction of prostheses that were not medical equipment, but rather artistic and technical works of art. His most recognizable piece, the Aries leg, was a wonder made of lightweight titanium that included interlocking plates that resembled the scales of a desert rattlesnake. These plates were embedded with kinetic energy harvesters that powered integrated LED illumination. There was more to it than just replacing a limb. It improved it. After another 5 years, Ivan was no longer just walking. He had become the chief executive officer of Phoenix Adaptive Systems, a multi-million-dollar technology company that was reinventing prosthetics. His talk, titled "The Architecture of Resilience," was so popular that it went viral. He reached the peak of Camelback Mountain while wearing his Aries leg, the LEDs beating on the rocks like a heartbeat for him. On worldwide television, he performed tango, and his moves were so fluid that they left listeners speechless. Ivan was not a symbol of recuperation, but rather of progress. While this was going on, Chloe had been through 2 marriages that ended in divorce. A shallow venture entrepreneur who was fascinated with status symbols, her third husband was a shallow individual. His 50-year-old birthday celebration was held at a resort in Scottsdale, and he insisted on having the ultimate conversation starter. In an effort to make a good impression, Chloe was able to get a very desirable prototype, the limited edition Aries Eclipse leg, which was black onyx and included gold fractal designs. It was the most valuable asset that Phoenix Adaptive Systems had. One may say that the gala was a dazzling cage of narcissism. An awestruck murmur could be heard coming from the gathering as Chloe displayed the leg in its crystal display case. The lights were then turned down. The stage was struck by a spotlight. Not as a visitor, but as the keynote speaker, Ivan strolled out of the room. He was unexpected, magnetic, and moved with the elegance of a panther while standing on an Aries leg that glistened like liquid silver. The audience went into a frenzy. Chloe became completely still, the champagne flute falling out of her grasp. Ivan spoke on the importance of resiliency, inventiveness, and the unseen architects who are responsible for making us stronger and rebuilding ourselves. Chloe, who was pale and shaking beside the display case, became the focus of his attention at that moment. Ivan's voice resounded in the quiet room as he continued, "Funny thing about catalysts, adding to the atmosphere. It is possible that they will appear in the form of desertion. I was informed by someone I cared about that I was half a man 5 years to the day. His Aries leg was tapped with a metallic ping that reverberated, and he halted for a moment. As it turns out, she was partially correct. The other part of my leg was taken by her, and she had me construct something that was superior than flesh." He made a motion in the direction of the Aries eclipse that was seen. "Is it the example? Its energetic core is built on the energy that I absorbed while learning to walk again, after crawling from the debris that she left me in." The audience was filled with a resounding sigh of disbelief. They turned their gaze to Chloe, who had become a statue of looming fear. The look on Ivan's face was one of peaceful and unnerving tranquility. "I am grateful to you, Chloe. The key to success was your abandonment. My anger served as the hammer." "You mean this?" The shining leg of his was slightly lifted by him. This masterpiece was created by the two of them working together. At Phoenix Adaptive, we do more than simply construct limbs. We construct the future. You assisted me in demonstrating that. The enraged words of her husband could be heard hissing in her ears as Chloe ran away from the banquet. Ivan's words were not yelled at her. Rather, they were dipped in acid and etched into her very being. Every single article that praised Ivan's brilliance, the Da Vinci of disability, every single video that went viral of him traversing desert trails, and every single glossy feature that was written about Phoenix Adaptive became a new wound. Not only had she deserted a handicapped guy, but she had also deserted the person who had orchestrated a revolution. His accomplishments were not only a kind of retribution, rather they were a live, breathing testament to her cowardice. Ivan never again made an effort to locate her. He had no reason to do so. He had finished exacting his vengeance the minute Chloe understood that she had made a grave and irreparable error in judgment. She had not walked away from a guy who was shattered. In the process of becoming a titan, she had moved away from him. And every stride that Ivan made, on legs that were more powerful and more beautiful than nature could have ever designed, reverberated in the empty space that had previously been occupied by her conscience. His triumph sprang not from her suffering, but rather from his transcendence. Ivan was well aware that this was a regret that could never be erased, regardless of how many fashionable clothes or affluent spouses he wore.